Guys. So I'm not sure how to put my face and the lesson plan on the video, so this is just going to be the lesson plan and my voice. So the grade level I chose would be 7th and 8th graders, middle school. The content area is responsible behavior, and the goal would be take responsibility for own behaviors. And I chose this one because I feel like in middle school, or especially in the school I work in, bullying, meanness, stereotypes, things like that are a big issue. And I mentioned before about wanting to create a community and a school of kindness and tolerance and understanding of each other. So I feel like this would be an effective lesson for that. We actually did this lesson as teachers. Our assistant principal that we had last year was new, and he was really big in capturing kids' hearts. So he had learned about this one in a capturing kids' hearts training, and so we did it as teachers. And I felt like it was very effective for us to even realize the stereotypes that we have. And sometimes, we didn't even know that was a stereotype or something that we had, a feeling that we had. So it was very effective for us also. So this one came from the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network. It says that this lesson was created by Margaret Ledoux from Paulsboro High School in New Jersey. It says they will gain an understanding of the labels and attached stereotypes. They will gain an understanding of seeing someone as a whole person, and they will agree to abstain from labeling one another. So basically what you do is ahead of time, you're going to get some note cards, about 5, and you're going to label the note cards with different stereotypes. And the stereotype or labels that you pick would be things that you see in your school happening. So I would definitely stick with the bully, the geek, or I would maybe say nerd of some sort. A lot of times my kids would be like, "What's a geek?" An airhead. I don't know if they would know the word airhead. You might want to use something different. You could use the different races. Like you could have African American, you could have Indian, Caucasian, or anything like that, Hispanic. You might even have a homosexual or transgender on these cards. So there's lots of different options there. It would just kind of depend on the maturity level of your students also. So you would write those on the cards, and then the lesson, well, it would start by giving the students a brief discussion about the effects of labeling. So make sure they know what the labels are. Are they good or bad? Like, is it good or bad to label people? What happens when we generalize based on labels and use stereotypes? How does it make you feel when you're given a label? And how does it make you feel when people react differently to you because of a label that has been placed on you? So it's kind of just a warm-up, a beginning to get you talking about labels and what they are so the kids understand what this activity is about. And then it gives you an option if you want to just have one group kind of participate and do this for the class, or if you want to separate the entire class into like groups of 5. I think I like the idea of one group better just because I feel like for middle school kids it's easier to monitor than if it's just one group. So you would ask the class for about 5 volunteers, you give each of the volunteers a label and they tape it to their forehead. And so they can't see what their label is. Everybody else can see what their label is, but they're not supposed to see it. And so the rest of the class is supposed to remain silent. And so the 5 kids that you've picked will walk around amongst each other. You can kind of give them a topic to talk about, such as like science class, or what do you think about school uniforms, a sporting event, or just give them some sort of topic. They have to respond to each other based on the label that is on that other student's head. So how they perceive that person based on what label they have or they're given. So they kind of walk around and act that out, do that for a few minutes, and then they try to guess what their own labels were based on how the volunteers or the other students engaged with them. And then you can ask them how they felt. How did it feel to wear that label that you were given? And so you could also do the same activity, just divide the whole class into groups of 5 and have everybody participate. I think it just depends on, like I said, the maturity level of your class also. So then after the activity, there's a video that they give you a link to right here. And the video is another class that actually did this lesson, and they videotaped it. So you could show them the video and then have them respond to the discussion questions based on how they all thought the activity went and how they felt like the labels made each other feel. So there's some activity questions for that. I think that some barriers, I can't think of too many other than you really have to talk to the class about being serious and mature when you start this activity. Sometimes junior high kids, they can get a little carried away with being silly, and they might see the labels on someone's head and start being mean or silly. They think they're participating and doing what they're supposed to be doing, but they're maybe hurting someone else's feelings. So the point of it is not to hurt each other's feelings and be mean. So I think it's important to make sure that you tell them when you're doing this and when you're responding to the labels that you're not being hateful and mean and saying ugly things. And then some resources. Obviously, you would need, like the note cards and the tape and stuff like that. You would need classroom time. So you would need the teachers to do that time in the classroom to do this activity. Or if I don't know if it would be an option to give the teachers the activity and have them do this in their class. But I think it would be more effective for the counselor to actually go in the classroom and do this activity with the kids, so they can see that counselor is part of all of this also, and that he or she is there to help. So and then you would also need some sort of video viewing capabilities in the class to show the video, the sample video. So that is the lesson that I chose for my professional self-analysis activity.